Good morning. Good morning to all of you watching me on my first video in English on my channel. My name is Nelson. I live in Manchester. I'm from Brazil. I work in Manchester and I live in Manchester with my family, my wife and my little girl. I recently came back from Brazil. And as you can expect, Brazil is, as you can, watch easily on YouTube, on telly. Brazil is living at the moment a very critical situation in terms of politics. I felt like I should do this video in English, and I will explain to you right now. I am a massive fan of Stephen Fry. I have been his fan since the first time I lived in UK, since 2005. And because I'm a big fan of him, I felt like I should do this video in English to reach as many people as I can in the world that speaks English language. Um, well, I've only yesterday, amazingly, only yesterday, I have watched his video interviewing Jair Bolsonaro. Um, the politic that it's running to be to the 2018 Brazilian presidency elections. I felt like I should do this video because as much as I love Stephen Fry, and I really do, and I respect him. And if you're watching me, Stephen Fry, I respect you a lot. I love your programs. I love your interviews. I love your points of view. I love your comedy shows. You are a fantastic person. However, I support Jair Bolsonaro, and I don't get a penny from him. I've actually been with him once. I even got a picture with him on my Instagram. That was beginning of last year, 2017, when I met him at the airport by coincidence. And I asked him to take a picture and have a few words with him, and he came completely with open arms and spoke to me for a couple of minutes. Well, let me put these more clearly. I talk a lot in Portuguese, and imagine to try to be a very quick in what I want to pass it, to all of you watching me. In English is a little bit more difficult. Right, I've watched it yesterday, Stephen Fry's interview, and he felt really bad because, of course, Jair Bolsonaro is the strongest candidate in Brazil, as Brazil is, crossing a very difficult moment. Stephen, I don't think you got the right impression, and I will try to explain here why. That's my personal opinion. I respect every other opinion. I'm not the king of the truth here, as we say in Portuguese. But I'll try to pass you my idea. Well, Brazil. I've been back in Brazil in 2011 after 7 years away. At the time, I had no kids. I didn't have my little girl. We moved back. We left England. I was quite disappointed. We were going through a crisis, financial crisis, and I decided to go back to Brazil. I missed my family, and I wanted to be back in my home country. I think that's very natural. After a few years in Brazil, I started to feel like, oh my God, what am I doing here? This is far worse than I thought. When I say worse, it's not because it's only violent, which is a lot, not because it's a third world economy, which is also a very big problem, but because I got a little bit scared about people's idea. As everybody knows, the last, let's say, 12 or 15 or 20 years of Brazil, we've been through a big wave of communism and socialism in Brazil. We've had recently the ex-president Lula, which is in jail, thankfully. He'd been for 8 years as a president, and then followed by Dilma, which was appointed by him and from his own, the same party, PT, Labour Party in Brazil. Um, it is absolutely difficult to explain how strong they are in Brazil at the moment. Kids were being raised on the idea of socialism and communism. Even for me, that studied in the, private schools, always. My dad is a very hardworking businessman in Brazil. He's got a little shop, glass shop, and he's been fighting hard in the last 20 years to keep opened and to pay the bills extremely hard. They've been affected by this extremely massive, horrible wave of socialism in people's mind in Brazil. Sorry. So again, what happens in Brazil at the moment? You, Stephen, have no idea how hard it is in Brazil to say, "Hi, I got a bit of money. Hi, I'm rich. Hi, I'm from a wealthy family. Hi, I worked very hard and I became rich." People will fight against you because they are trained in the last 20 years. They have been trained to think if you have money, you are guilty because there's people starving. If you're working hard and making your life a little bit better than the others, you must be robbing. You must be a corrupted. You must be a horrible bastard employing people for peanuts. Who are you? You have no right to have a nice car. You have no right to have a nice apartment. They don't care if you worked very hard. They don't care if you came from a wealthy family. They don't care if you have been the last 15 years of your life studying like a maniac, working hard to go through a very good job, to go through a very good career, and then you achieve a lot of money, you earn a lot of money. You're wrong. You bastard, you fascist. I'm trying to explain exactly what it is day by day in Brazil, okay? The criminals, they think they have a lot of power at the moment because whatever they do, they don't really pay for it. Okay, if you, Stephen, goes to Brazil and like many other tourists, for example, if you get robbed and shot dead, that criminal that killed you because of a camera, because of a nice suit, or because of your car, because of your, gold jewelry or anything, your watch, they will hardly pay anything for it because Brazilian justice are built to defend criminals. Brazilian justice are built to benefit corruption. And why they're built like that? Because people that should be defending the population, the MPs or the senators, or the people in the politics that should be legislating, creating laws to defend the population, are creating laws to defend themselves whenever they get caught. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's much deeper than you think. I'm not here defending Jair Bolsonaro. I am 100% sure he's not homophobic. Right, going to the right subject, homophobia. I hate to think that people judge the other because they are homosexual, or because they're different, or because they have a different religion, or because of anything. We are all humans. And I love being in UK. I love UK. I love England. Simply because there is a lot of information. You have people in this country with all the problems because it's not a perfect land. It's not as great as the name says. But it's amazing to be here and feel like you can go into a subway station or an underground station and wear whatever you want, dress ridiculously, or put a makeup in a 50-year-old man, and people won't even look at you because they don't care what you dress in. They don't care what you think. They don't care what you like, because that's not the right manner to judge a person. Well, Stephen, in Brazil it's very different. Okay, in Brazil, it's a country full of prejudice, and that comes together with people that have no access to education. Excuse me. People that have not been taught to study, to search, to do research, to value its historical heritage. For example, I'll give you a very quick example again. In Brazil, 99.9% of the people that you talk, especially with less than 30 years old, 30 years of age, will say to you that Brazil has been robbed by the Portuguese. What? Yes. They don't understand colonization. They don't respect the past. They don't respect Portugal. They don't respect. We're talking about the massive, the biggest part of the population. Those people that have no access to a good historical history book. Those people that are raised in public schools where most of the teachers and the people on education believes and they are socialists. That's another fact. There are exceptions, but most of them are 100% going into the socialist mind and communism. Okay, so try to get the picture that a country, a nation that doesn't value its own history will never achieve anything. Doesn't matter if you're from Germany and you've had the Nazism. You had a horrible history behind you. You have to understand it. You have to study it. You have to go deeply to avoid it happening again. That's step number one of humankind. We are rational. Is that how you say? Sorry. We are intelligent, let's say. Sorry, I will have some words on my vocabulary missing from Portuguese to English. We are intelligent humans. We are animals that have brains. We have to think, we have to study, we have to understand. We cannot judge. Who are we to judge someone by the appearance or by the sexuality or by anything? But that's the world, that's Brazil as it is at the moment, Stephen. At the time, especially when you did that interview, you might have noticed that Bolsonaro is surrounded by, private guards and security and etc. You can understand why, because he's just been stabbed last month. That's why he's actually giving his face too much into the public. I think he could probably be killed before next year, because there's still people wanting to kill him. And that's very simple to understand. He is touching that massive problem, cultural, moral, in Brazil. He wants to say, look, I have the right to make a joke. I have the right to think differently, even if he doesn't, or even if he does. It's not the case here. I have the right to express myself. In Brazil, there is the politically correct expression in Brazil. Everything you say, there's two ways to understand, but you'll be judged by that, okay? So he's fighting against a lot of people that have been raised in the last 20 years. We're talking about youth or young adults of 20 years old voting, believing everything he's been told it's the right thing. But they've been raised on a socialism and communist school. Do you understand the picture of that? So when you say in England, when you interview someone in UK or in US, and you want to go deep into the point, you want to push them to the wall, against the wall, and you want to say, look, you have been accused of fraud, for example, or you have been doing that crime and you've been judged, and you are this and you are that. You have the right to say, we are free here to go against someone that's been judged or how can I say, have been accused of something really wrong. Do you understand the picture? In Brazil, you can't do that. Or you cannot say that gays are this or gays are that. Even if you're not homophobic, you are being taken as a homophobic straight away. So I think I'm losing a little bit here, and I don't want to. So inside Brazil, inside Brazilians' mind, Brazilian people's mind, it's a very different point of view. I understand yours. Watching your video, I understood your point of view. You are 1,000,000% right. but you are taking into consideration your culture, your education, your rights in UK, your mind, your intelligent mind, the way you've been raised is different. Is 100% different. What you have in Brazil, it's people killing the others and being taken as a victim, when the victim that was killed by a criminal are totally forgotten by the state, by the government. But if you are killed in Brazil, 99% chance that the human rights will go and defend the criminal, but no one will show up to defend you. That's a problem in Brazil. It's very deep. And I feel like we are at the edge of a crisis in Brazil, because it took too long to someone to show up and say, stop, stop. Family rights, family values. What can we say? What can we not say? We have to stop and rethink. We have to rethink Brazil. And for that reason, I don't think you took the right picture of what's about. Even if you don't like Bolsonaro, there are many things on his speech, for example, that I don't agree, but I 100% believe that he's the best option for Brazil at the moment. Taking into consideration he's an honest man, he's a family man, even though you might have your different opinion. His family, it's not involved in any corruption scheme or anything like that. In everything you hear about him, accusations and ridiculous things are trying to destroy his image, because they know how risky it is for the system that are running Brazil for so many years to have Bolsonaro as a president. And just to end the video, which is very long already, make sure you have a look into the people that have been elected last Sunday for senator and for all the politics, governor, and all the other elections in Brazil. I can't say in English now, sorry. You have to see how young they are, how many good ideas they bring to the public, taking so many old politics away, taking them to the skip, because they can't even stand into Brazilian population anymore. They robbed, they are corrupted, and they are losing space, because there is a feeling of somehow we have to work together to unite Brazilian people and make a country great again. So I'm sorry if you couldn't understand everything I said. I've tried to understand, I've tried to explain as much as I can. And please don't judge before you really understand what's Brazil like, okay? I came back from Brazil. I escaped from Brazil after losing friends killed for nothing. And those criminals, they're probably now getting a bigger salary for being a prisoner than a hard worker, a family guy working a full month for half of what he gets by being a prisoner. It's very difficult to understand. It's very deep. That's why we need Bolsonaro. Stephen Fry, a big kiss from me. You're a big fan. I just ask you to go a little bit deeper into Brazilian problems before you try to send your opinion, because there's a lot of people in this world that will watch a video and have the wrong idea of what's Brazil like, okay? God bless you all. God bless this amazing world, these amazing people, and the Brazilian people, my people. I wish them the very best in success. Whoever wins, we have to ask them to do what they promised. Big kiss. Bye-bye.